Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and watching. For anyone who is watching this video, I really appreciate that. Um, in this video, I'm going to be talking about this project, which was for the Colorado Rockies, and it was a model for home run based on launch angle and exit velocity with an indicator when the team played at home versus when the Rockies play away. So first off, we have all of our imports to make sure that we have the right databases to be able to play with the data properly for this project. Um, so we only did the 2023 season. So as of now, that will be last season. Reason we did this season was because it's fresh data. It was last year's data, but also that was a very particular season for the Rockies in the sense that um, this was a season where they had over 100 losses. I actually believe it was their worst season ever since moving to Denver in 1995. So due to those factors, I wanted to dive into it a little bit and see what kind of data I could find to help understand a little bit of what happened. And in this particular model, we're dealing with home runs based on these factors. So the first thing we did, I wanted to import the first data set was the one that had the game record. So this one had the stadium, the home, away, the win and losses. And I had to play with that a little bit, remove some of the um, special characters that were slowing us down with the data as far as being able to manipulate it better. So we tackled that. We converted the column for the date. We remove the actual day from it so that it matches the other data. Um, so we can merge on them. We also added a year. And then once we start getting into it, we're playing with StatCast. So we're playing with Pi Baseball, as I'm sure we noticed from up here. So since I wanted to do just the Rockies home runs based on those factors, home and away, I needed to get the player ID number ID lookup, that's what it's called, for our team. So we did that so we know who's who, and we can then now have that ID number, apart from other data that we could get from here, and then from there, um, be able to manipulate them better as well. So we loaded all of those in, and then here we ended up hashtagging or commenting out some of the players because they had no batting records, right? We could have done anything with this data. Our project is focusing on home runs, which is a batting statistics, and is focusing on certain parameters, certain attributes like launch angle and exit velocity. But not every player on the team bats for the season. So I believe we actually had only 14 players on the team with data, and now we have their IDs. We gather their data. Then we convert it to a CSV just to be able to view the data, make sure we're checking on ourselves, following up on our work, and things look proper and the way we are envisioning the data to be looking and represented. So then we merge everything together because now we have my Rocky players, all 14 of them that batted and have data on this. And now we merge them all together. So now I got my roster and I have all their batting data. And if you remember in the first chunk, we already imported the data for the date, time, the stadium, the win losses, the home away. So now that we have the in-game specific batting data plus those data, those are our two main um, data frames that we're going to be playing with today. So we get all of this rolling, we merge it, and then once we merge it, in this particular scenario, every time you merge data, but in this particular scenario, we had to play a little bit with the column due with the dates. They were formatted differently. So we wanted to get those in the same format. So as you notice, you'll have the batting record, but you also have the game record, and we fixed that up so things match. This is a little sample of what the game record looks like with the date now fixed. Doesn't have any more strings in it. Excuse me. And these are things that get removed later. Win loss, those are the things we care about. And the over here, the home away column, which is the one that you have the all the games in the season. So everything is looking right with that. Now here we start to rename columns, so it becomes a little easier to merge as well. Um, we merge it. We do a left merge on date because they have the same format now, the same name, and we just merge it on left. One is coming into the other. So that looks good. And then we also, so here's actually where it starts to get a bit interesting. Um, I wanted to create a Boolean for the column of home away, right? So home is 1, away will be 0. And the Boolean was an interesting experience because it was already made to, register any string as a 1, any empty, any no's, any NA, things like that as a 0. So what I ended up doing, I removed the special character over here that represents away games, and I just made it an empty blank. Since we're only dealing with two sets here, right? Either yes or no. Well, we know that either we're home, which is Coors, we change that to Coors, which will be Coors Field, and we left the other one as empty, so you know that's not Coors. So you know we're talking about our 14 players that we did here for our data, for our batting data, and you know that they're all from last year, and you know that they're all from the Rockies. So that's our team right there. And then here, so you know that's home. So now we know that when we're not home, we're away. Whether we're playing the Dodgers or the Mets, we're away. So that's we use the map for that, but that's the approach I took on that one. And then what I wanted to do just to play with the data, make it a little bit more just prettier. I removed the columns that were empty in every way, especially that had nothing to do with our data, right? Remember, this original data set has a lot of data for batting. We could have done many different kinds of projects, but for our project, we didn't really need um, any of these empty columns. And then as well, if you notice in this line, I create a new column for the same column of home away. And I created that column because I wanted to change the name. I could have renamed, but I created a new column and then I just removed the old one. So now we have the new one with quote unquote proper naming. We removed the old one. And then here we actually rename the statistics that, especially the statistics that we're going to be using here. Launch speed is actually exit velocity, et cetera, et cetera. So we wanted to make sure we remove those underscore. They're not needed here. So now, and then we made it a Boolean for game at Coors. So now you will notice that we have the game at Coors as a true or false. True will be home and false will be away. Um, so then after that, we start to really play with the data now, right? The first half was all the wrangling, but now we get to have some fun and start playing with the data. So first, as you'll notice here, of course, it'll be empty because we did that on purpose, represented the away games. And we have our average um, exit velocity and launch angles for home runs, right? This I could have done this for every pitch that was thrown that year, but I did it for home runs batted by our players. whether they were home or away. A little more speed here on the exit velocity, a little angle on the home. Um, so in Denver, we do live in elevation, and the launch angle will have to do with that. So then we pull out with the date just to show how, whether it was home or away per day instead of just overall here. We also get that info just to have it and visualize and see what that looks like. Um, so then now we start to show some visualizations just to show um, the data being represented and seeing what we found out. Of course, we label everything. We do all of our stuff. So, and we start with some simple bar graphs here, just showing the home and away, whether it's launch angle or exit velocity, showing their respective data. Pretty similar stuff here. We also did small histograms with those. Um, we did a density as well to show practically the same data in a different form. Um, it's good to do that just I think because the data being seen in different form can help you once you visualize it, see little things. Um, so that's what we did with those. Then we did our matrix here with our scatter plot directly. So here is very clear to see, the launch angles. This is all the home runs. You have the velocity, obviously balls under 95 or so are not really being hit as home run as much. Um, so you have them all in the hundreds between clearly 100 and 110 or so, 115, and clearly in the angle of mid 20s to mid 30s right here is where most home runs are being hit. We have a regression line as well to show the line of best fit. And then we get to some of the box plots that I created showing the difference between home and away. And you can see the differences a little more clear here. Um, we also have it with the launch angle instead of the exit velocity, right? So, and you see how, of course, feel the altitude might have an impact with the angle of the ball being in the air for a bit longer since we are above sea level. We also have some data here showing the bucks. So you have the exit velocity, you have home and away, and you see a little bit of the difference. Um, in the launch angle here, you really see it. And this one is, because being above sea level, the home runs um, have more of an angle. So you get to see that here as well. Um, we also did some data here where we resetted the index, I believe, to put them all like this, and then we did them here in the same plot, home away, launch angle on this side, exit velocity on this side. Try to get a closer view of the differences and our notes explaining everything. So overall, it was very clear to see that there was some differences in the home runs at Coors versus other field because of our elevation. Um, thank you so much for watching and listening and tuning in. I hope this helps and appreciate it. Have a nice day, guys.